I think certain kinds of drag are mainstream now, and they tend to be the bits of drag that the mainstream already wants to amplify.
I mean, listen, I watched a little TV show called RuPaul's Drag Race, and before that, I was just someone who sat in their bed and played games all day. Drag Race made drag so mainstream that you've got thousands of young queer people who now want to put a wig on and have their name in lights. So it's definitely skyrocketed.
The bits that the mainstream tends to want to take from drag and amplify drag are those things that are already present in the world today. The binaries that people already understand, that distinction between man and woman. The stuff that's easier to understand, maybe a little bit less challenging, maybe a little bit less disruptive. But that doesn't mean it's not also absolutely wonderful to have it out there.
I feel like drag has certainly got to a mainstream point, whether it's all forms of drag, but especially the drags that I represent and the drag that is showcased on Drag Race. It's definitely hit the mainstream, but it's now our job and our duty on those platforms to then showcase the other forms of drag to then include everyone in that mainstream media.
We see a lot of drag on RuPaul's Drag Race, which I'm very fortunate to be a part of, but even when I was preparing to be on the show, you are very aware of the certain tunnel of drag, that certain pathway of drag that the audience members would like. I hate when people say, oh, and this alternative drag queen. It's like, no, they're not an alternative drag queen. Get rid of that term alternative drag queen. The only reason we have that now is because of the mainstream success of shows like Drag Race. So I think a lot of the time we say, oh, this person's an alternative drag queen, when they're actually not. They're just doing drag. They're expressing themselves. You know, I think drag truly is quite a selfish thing. You know, I do drag because I love styling hair. I love sewing. I love playing around with makeup. And that's how it developed, was I wanted to show off my skills. Who's saying that needs to be a pretty woman? Who says that needs to be a lovely finger-waved wig? Drag can be whatever you want it to be. And I think that's lost in translation, especially nowadays.
To hear the whole story, subscribe to Tricky on BBC Sounds.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.